Hey there, welcome back to 31 Days of Devotion, our final day together. You guys, congratulations. Honestly, if you are still here with us for our final day of practice, I really just want to say that you are amazing. You are a rock star. You are super devoted. You are Linda Evangelista. You are incredible, and I hope that you're feeling so great about yourself for sticking it through this entire month, taking an entire month to practice your own best intentions to yourself, for yourself, practicing on the meditation cushion, hopefully bringing it out into your world is not a small feat, and that's something that I hope that you're really celebrating for yourself. So here we are, final day together. I couldn't be more thrilled to be back here on the cushion to close us out officially. And of course, over the past 3 days, we have been working with question and answer. So any questions that may have come up for you in your practice on the cushion, I wanted to take a little bit of time to address today. And one of these overarching questions that have come through my inbox this particular time around has to do with body stuff. So if any of you have had the experience of sitting down to practice meditation and noticing that the moment that you sit down, a lot comes up physically, please know that you are not alone. It's one of the most common questions around how to kind of get comfortable in our body during meditation. So one thing that I want to say is that if you do have some sort of chronic pain or chronic injury, really please don't feel like you need to force yourself into some sort of posture. That there's nothing, sitting in a chair isn't less spiritual than sitting on the floor in full lotus position. So really take care of your body to the highest extent that you can. The other thing that I want to say is that for many of us, we're walking around all day long with a sense of kind of chronic misalignment. I know that for me, I have like this weird shoulder thing. It kind of like my right shoulder rolls forward a little. I have like a weird hip thing where it like juts out a little farther. And we probably don't notice these subtle misalignments in our bodies that we carry around with us and exacerbate all day long until we're sitting still for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes if you're on a retreat, all day long. So making sure that we know how to work with our body in meditation practice is incredibly, incredibly important. So a couple of tips that I wanted to share in terms of working with the body, working with physical alignment that I have found so incredibly helpful is first and foremost to notice where your sit bones are. So the way that the human skeletal system was designed is that our joints and our muscles were not designed to channel gravity. And that if we aren't sitting on our sit bones, which were meant to hold us into the ground, meant to channel gravity down through the ground, it's going to be falling into other parts of our body, and it's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. So first and foremost, to notice where your sit bones are and to make sure that when we're sitting in meditation practice, particularly if we're on a cushion, that we're actually on our sit bones. And our sit bones are much higher up than you might think. It's sort of that cute little smile line where your butt meets your thighs. So you can even like really kind of like grab back there and grab the flesh of your butt and feel those two pokey bones where your butt meets your thigh, and make sure that those bones are what are resting on your cushion or resting on your chair. If you're on a chair, oftentimes we need to slide a little bit further forward so that our feet can be flat on the ground. And our sit bones are what is supporting the weight of gravity. So what tends to happen in meditation posture is that we kind of like curl back a little bit Like we sort of like do this thing, particularly if you're used to typing at a desk, and that puts all of our body weight into our tailbone. So our tailbone shouldn't be supporting any of our body weight at all. We want to make sure that our weight is in the sit bones. The next thing that we can look at is our shoulders. So as though we were wearing a military uniform and pretending we have like cute little epaulets on our shoulder here of our military uniform, making sure that our shoulders are in line with our hip crease. So you can put one hand on your shoulder, one hand on your hip crease here, and making sure that the body isn't rocking too far forward, the body isn't rocking too far back, that once we've found our sit bones, we're actually sitting on our sit bones, that our shoulders are in line with our hip crease here. So this will make sure that we're not doing any kind of like overcompensation forward and back, which tends to throw a lot of tension into our back. So the third thing that we can take a look at is what is happening with our head. So the sort of plumb line of our head we can think of as being right between our ears here. And if we tilt our head forward, or if we tilt our head back, we're not giving gravity a chance to channel firmly down this plumb line of our spine. And we're throwing this heavy weight of our head, roughly 8 pounds, the human head, sort of off of its axis, which causes the neck and the spine to take the brunt of it. So really feeling where our head is, making sure that we're not kind of sloping forward, and we're not jutting our chin out, resting back. You can even take a moment to really just find that natural pivot point where the head rests atop the spine. And you can almost feel it kind of click into place, where it feels really sturdy, upright, effortless. And so again, feeling our sit bones, not our tailbone, our sit bones on the cushion, on the chair, ensuring that the cute little epaulets of our shoulders are aligned with our hips, and that our head is resting firmly atop the spine here on its natural pivot point. The chin isn't jutting forward, we're not tucking the chin too much. And once we found that alignment, taking a moment just to locate our seat wherever we happen to be, and giving ourselves a few deep inhales, deep exhales. And here in our final day of practice together, perhaps just opening up practice by touching in on intention. So just reconnecting to what it is that brought us here in the first place. Why you said yes. Made the effort. And continued to show up. And whatever that is for you, it doesn't have to be profound as long as it's honest. Just allowing that to fade into the backdrop a bit. It's the white noise that informs our practice. No need to focus on it directly. And we'll take just a few moments here, as always, to open our practice by opening our senses. These 5 little touchstones to the present moment, windows into our bodies. First and foremost, shifting the attention over to sound. And whatever sounds happen to be present in our space today. Perhaps just in our mind's eye, extending them a bit of thanks, a bit of gratitude. for being a part of our practice, for giving our practice some context, reminding us that we're here in the world. Extending a bit of thanks to sound. And then staying open to sound, over to touch. Bringing our attention to the sense of touch. Feeling where the body makes contact. Really occupying the space that we're in. That light pressure of making contact. Perhaps allowing the body weight to release a bit into the floor, into the cushion. Just allowing ourselves to be held up, supported. Taking in the temperature of air in the room, and the texture of our clothing against our skin. Perhaps even extending a bit of thanks to the clothing on our body, to the chair that's holding us up, and the floor that's supporting us. Again, for being a part of our experience, and giving our practice some context. So extending a bit of thanks. Bringing the attention to the feet, wiggling a toe or two, just feeling our feet here. Space between the toes, texture of the socks. Tracing the attention across the shin bones, circling the kneecaps, grazing along the thighs, and hips, and sit bones against the chair, the cushion. And bringing the attention to the tailbone behind us. And imagining that there were a literal tail attached, a big, heavy alligator tail, hanging heavy behind us, rooting us down to the floor. Just feeling this heavy tail behind us. Tracing the attention upwards to the sacrum, the base of the spine. And vertebra by vertebra, beginning our slow ascent across the lower back, middle back, upper back. And just feeling a light extension through the crown of the head. Dropping the attention into the belly, the chest. Taking just a few moments here to feel the body breathing. Just getting a sense of what it's like to breathe today. Similar but different than any other day. Taking just a few moments here to feel the body breathing. very little effort by its own volition. Continuing to feel the breath move through the body. In our mind's eye, it's extending a bit of acknowledgement to our breath, a bit of thanks, a bit of kindness. Taking a moment to acknowledge our breath for its consistent nature. Acknowledging our breath for keeping rhythm in our body. Continuing to move. Giving us something to come home to in practice. Just acknowledging our breath. Acknowledging our lungs. Maybe even feeling the expansion and contraction of our lungs. This physical mechanism of breathing. Acknowledging our lungs for their capacity to receive our environment, no matter how toxic or pristine it may be. Acknowledging our lungs for receiving our environment and alchemizing air into life-giving breath. Acknowledging our breath, our lungs, for continuing to breathe without ever being asked. Very rarely witnessed, and yet always on our team. Perhaps extending a bit of thanks to our breath. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then moving our attention upwards to the space where our heart exists, the left-hand corner of our chest. Maybe even placing one hand on the heart, if that feels honest. Taking a moment here just to feel the warmth of our palm against our heart. Just acknowledging our heart for its consistent nature, for beating and beating day in and day out without ever skipping a beat. Acknowledging our heart, this tiny organ the size of our fist, pumping hundreds of gallons of blood through our body every single day without ever being asked, without us needing to know how. Acknowledging our heart, both the physical organ and also the representation of heart, for its capacity to be disappointed, to be broken, and yet to heal, reopen. Acknowledging our heart, perhaps extending a bit of thanks to our heart. Very rarely witnessed, and yet always, always on our team. And then walking our attention upwards to the space between our eyebrows. Taking a moment just to acknowledge our mind, this phenomenal operating system that we have. It's acknowledging our mind for its capacity to receive shapes and colors and sounds and make meaning out of our world. It's acknowledging our mind for being the keeper of our memories, our dreams, everything that we hold most dear. No matter how cluttered or confused it can be at times, acknowledging our mind, knowing that its sole purpose is our safety, our survival. It's taking a moment to thank our mind for getting us this far. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then again, taking a moment just to feel our body here in space. The weight of the body against the cushion. And those points where the body makes contact. That light pressure. And taking a moment here just to acknowledge our bodies, our home for this go-round. Just acknowledging our body, this phenomenal ecosystem, hundreds of thousands of systems and processes, all working in perfect unison without ever being asked, without us ever needing to know how. Acknowledging our body for its inherent capacity to heal, the intelligence to take a cut, make a scab, create a scar. Acknowledging our body, no matter how contentious our relationship to our body might be at times, recognizing that its sole mission, its sole purpose is our survival. Extending a bit of thanks to our bodies, rarely appreciated, perhaps, and yet always, always, always on our team. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then again, returning to our intention for being here. Why you said yes, signed up, showed up, made the effort, continue to make the effort. Whatever that reason for you. Closing out just by extending a bit of thanks to yourself. Recognizing that you could have spent all of these minutes doing anything else with your time, but that you chose to come to the cushion, work with your mind, work with your heart, work with your intention, work with your attention. Take very, very good care of yourself in this way. It's giving yourself a little bit of credit, a little bit of love for that. And then as you're ready, Just allowing formal practice to drop. And coming back in together at your own pace, no rush. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting me and everyone else into your home and into your life this month. What a joy, what an absolute honor. It has been a real pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for spending the month of January together in practice. It really warms my heart to consider that we are just these hundreds of little satellites scattered across the earth practicing together. And if you believe in interdependence, what an amazing kind of ripple that creates in the world. So thank you so much, everybody, for your practice. Thank you for your time. Thank you for inviting me into your inbox and into your home. Have a beautiful rest of 2019. This is just the beginning, and I cannot wait to see you again soon. Until then, signing off.